Hey guys, I'm Dr. Matt Geller, and I'm here with Dr. Roya Attar. She's an assistant professor and director of professional relations at the Kentucky College of Optometry. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me, what do optometry students need to keep in mind today to have a successful career, both kind of in school and then as they're transitioning out?
I think what all optometry students should have is an open mind.
Right.
So when you're going through optometry school, have an open mind about what you want to do that's going to create your brand, create your niche, have your area of interest that's going to set you apart from all your colleagues. So I think a lot of that is keeping an open mind and knowing that there are so many opportunities within optometry. It's not just seeing patients in clinic. You can go into industry, academia, research. So there's so many avenues. So keep an open mind, explore those opportunities, and then see where your interest is and ultimately where your passion is. Now, I know we hear this word a lot, passion. If you follow your passion, you're going to be successful.
Yep.
It almost sounds cliche, but it is true no matter what profession you can think of. When you follow your passion, you don't feel like you're working. I love my job. It doesn't feel like work. I mean, I've actually been quoted as saying I can't believe they pay me to do this.
Yeah.
I really love it. It's a very dynamic day, every day changes. So, and I really enjoy that. I enjoy my students. So that has been my passion, and it doesn't feel like working. People's measuring stick of what success is different.
Sure.
Everyone has a different measuring stick for it. Usually it's attached to a number, but I just saw something that really spoke volumes to me, and it said, build a life that you don't need a vacation from. That is success.
That does speak volumes.
So that is success.
It's funny because I think we both graduated in the same year, and I remember when we were both students together and both ended up pursuing an industry role. And I think a lot of people see that as taboo or not being the way to go. They're told by professors or family that this is what you got to do, this is the way to do it.
Right.
How do you encourage independent thinking?
Well, because all we think of as an industry is probably a sales and marketing role. But actually in industry, there's roles for optometrists as thought leaders, as people who drive the education and the research. So there's so much more in industry than what we think of as just the sales and marketing. We've got another salesman who just happens to be a doctor now.
Yep.
There's so much more, and that's why I highly encourage our students to go out and learn about these things. So right here we're at SECO, which just happens to be one of my favorite shows. We have the biggest turnout of students from our college.
That's
and
great.
I've literally pushed them, come out here, talk to people, learn the different roles, because all the optometrists you meet here are not in private practice or any type of clinical practice. You're going to meet a lot right here in the J&J booth that work on their, in a professional capacity for the company, and they're very happy with their career. So they do research, and you have to, like I said, just keep that open mind. And just one other thing I want to say, it seems these days that no matter, every time I open something about optometry, you get something new that comes in, there's this doom and gloom about our profession.
That is life has always
I know,
been there.
it's always doom and gloom and all this. Don't focus on that doom and gloom. Whenever you differentiate yourself and you really work to carve out your niche and follow your passion, you're going to guarantee your success. And really continue to advocate for the profession, but also advocate for your patients. Anytime you advocate for your patients, you're going to be successful in your practice. So my goal in life is to make sure that it's ingrained in every American's mind that you have to get your annual eye exam. So that is what I hope to accomplish in my career, market that heavily, because that's how we get our information. So just kind of steer away from the doom and gloom. There's a great reason to be an optometrist today, and everyone needs great eye care, and you can do that for your patients.
Absolutely. What are the kind of inherent qualities that you see in your students that you know are just going to be better or have more success? The definition varies for a lot of people,
Right.
but in general, what are the qualities that you see in them that you think, ultimately that others, if they had those qualities, would do equally as good?
Starting at the interview phase, one thing that I kind of try to look at, aside from their academic achievements, is how dedicated they are. Do they already see themselves at the finish line? Those students that come in with an elevated form of dedication, failure is not even in their mind.
Hell yeah.
So, and actually there is actually a certain specific niche of students that can always tell you will be successful. They are what we call your non-traditional students. So these are the ones that I've already got, that have, yeah, exactly. I'm speaking to the choir.
Yep.
So they've gone out into the real world, had a career, and made that conscious choice to come back. They're very dedicated because they made that choice. They really want optometry as a career or see themselves in that capacity. And so they have always traditionally done well in almost every program that they've been in. And the presumption is they probably will not, because they're coming back, they're leaving a career as a student, not making money,
Yep.
or they have families, they have kids. Either way, they have always done well because they just have that elevated dedication. And then the other thing is, and this one seems kind of counterintuitive, but if you take a survey of all the schools of optometry, if you take a survey of their students, the top 10% academically and clinically that are doing well have a strong level of involvement in student programs at the school, clubs, and all that. Like I said, it seems counterintuitive because the time that they should be studying, they're devoting to their clubs, but the truth is when you get more involved, you become more dedicated, and you're gonna do better. You're gonna make it count when you study. So I highly encourage student involvement and getting really involved in the profession, learning, because that also guarantees their success as a student and also as a future clinician or practitioner or any capacity in their career.
I think it's really well said. Is there something that precedes dedication and involvement, more so on the dedication side? Is there something that precedes that there's something else there that causes them to be dedicated, passionate, and all those other things? Is there some
I think it's a heightened understanding of what they really want.
Okay.
Like I said, it's
Goals.
it's that goal. You envision yourself. I highly believe in the power of imagining and envisioning yourself. So
Thought.
they are exactly, and that law of attraction that when they really want it that bad, it will come to them. So. Absolutely, the students that have that sense, that already know that, hey, I'm going to go to optometry, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to do this, they always succeed.
So take that time to think about what you want, right?
Absolutely, and be positive, because
Yep, be
what you put
positive.
out there, that's what's going to come back to you. So
For sure.
going back to students really not necessarily going into clinic or seeing that as their only viable option following graduation, that they can be successful in much other capacities and really go out and do something on the frontier.
Yep.
We don't have to follow in the path someone else has blazed. Make your own path.
Yep.
And I think that is exactly speaks to what you have done. So
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's interesting. My mind has been blown to see how many young new graduates are actually pursuing a non-clinical career part-time. I didn't think it would be so many people, especially in these first 5 years out and less. So I think a lot of people watching may say, that's for later in my life when I'm older, I could do that and take some days off. Those things are possible immediately. We actually surveyed our audience, about 10,000 new graduates, and found that I think it was 49% of them were willing to pursue a non-clinical career. Mm-hmm. And it actually increased the further you were from school, the desire to pursue a non-clinical career, or part-time at least, increased.
Yeah.
And I think there's this need or this desire to contribute in other ways, would you say?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think what it is, how you said it increased after they went out, because we have this tunnel vision, thinking that all we can do is see patients when we graduate. But then we get out there and we learn there's so many other things we can do, and that's probably where that awareness comes in. Hence why I encourage students to be aware now, have an open mind now that there's so much more that they can do. And I want them to get excited about it.
Yeah. What resources can they plug themselves into, whether it's reading, listening, to find lessons about the things we're talking about outside of just looking at optometry magazines?
Number one thing, get out there and meet that face-to-face, that interaction, that touch point that you have with someone else. I have this talk that I do that networking, it's more than a business card.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually work. You got to build that connection, and my personal history, those connections have really served me. I have never had to actually apply for a job because someone has always recommended me for a job. Just being where I am today, I've leaped quite a bit because of the connections that I've made. Get out here, get out to meetings, get out to meetings like SECO. SECO's a great one because they really, really push relationship building. This is why it's what I'm about, so that's why this is one of my favorite meetings to come to. But build those relationships, meet someone who's doing something that interests you, that sparks your interest, find out what path they took, and yeah, you could do what they do, but you could also do it even better and create your own way to get there. Blaze your own path. There's so much more that you can do, and I believe a lot in the blue ocean strategy, which means do something that someone else isn't doing.
Just
That's a
reading
niche.
right now.
that's a niche that you created. You know, you created something that was phenomenal.
Yep,
And I thank you every day for that, because everyone knew who I was because of what you created.
This is round 2 here.
Yeah,
Well, it's
I know.
great to see, students thinking about going and enrolling in Kentucky College of Optometry. Obviously have a great leader and someone to help craft their thought process. But
Yeah.
thanks for jumping on. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, as always.
All right.